Welcome to A Soldier's Note channel. Before continuing to watch this video, don't forget to press the subscribe button, activate notifications, like, and share with your friends. Thank you.
The world's response to the Type 055 class destroyer of China's warship. Even though these warships are officially called destroyers, the Type 055 class is actually larger in terms of size and displacement than US Ticonderoga class cruisers and similar to Russian Slava class cruisers. Most likely that these warships are called destroyers for political reasons. The Type 055 class warships are larger and have nearly twice the displacement of the latest China's Type 052D class destroyers. Furthermore, the firepower of the Type 055 class increased exponentially comparing with the Type 052 class. The new cruisers have superior offensive capabilities. Until the late 1980s, China's navy was largely a riverine and littoral force. For a long period of time, China had no money, resources, or technology to develop and produce large warships. During the 1990s and early 2000s, China still lacked gas turbine propulsion technology, anti-submarine warfare helicopters, electronic countermeasure systems, naval air defense missiles and anti-ship missiles, torpedoes, sonars, radars, communication systems, electronics, and other vital technologies that were required to create large and modern surface combatants. Readily available indigenous technology and weapons would make the ship extremely big, over 20,000 tons in displacement, and ineffective. Furthermore, China had no suitable propulsion for big warships anyway. However, over time China developed, obtained, or received access to the required technology. In around 2009 an indigenous program was launched. It called for a new cruiser 10,000 plus T in displacement, with high speed, long endurance, long self-sufficiency, and excellent global navigation that would be capable of leading a fleet. It would be a stealthy design with low acoustic, radar, infrared, and electromagnetic signature. The new cruiser would have early warning defense systems, as well as long, medium and close-range weapons. A lot of work was put in to overcome complexities and various design issues. These new cruisers were built as multi-role warships. The development of the Type 055 class cruisers actually contained much fewer risks than the development of the Type 052D class destroyers, since most of the weapons have already been tested. The use of relatively mature weapons and radar systems significantly reduced delays in commissioning the ships. The lead ship of the new Type 055 class, Western reporting name Renhai class, was commissioned with China's Navy in 2019. More Type 055 class ships are being built at 2 shipyards and are nearing completion. Once in service, these new cruisers will form a core of China's naval battle groups. These cruisers are equipped with advanced radars. It uses a Type 346B radar, which is similar in function to a US Spy-1 Aegis radar. It can detect air targets at significant ranges and track numerous targets simultaneously. It looks like this radar can also detect and track ballistic missiles. The Type 055 class cruisers are also fitted with the newest Chinese data link. This secure tactical data system is used for communication with other warships. There is a single H per petajoule to 38,130 mm dual-purpose naval gun that can engage both air and ground targets. The last-ditch defense is provided by a single H per petajoule minus 1130 mm 11-barreled close-in weapon system (CIWS) mounted forward, and a single HHQ-10 short-range air defense missile system. There are a single landing spot and hangar for 2 helicopters. Some sources report that the Type 055 class carries Z-18F anti-submarine warfare helicopters. Propulsion is provided by a combined gas and gas (COGAG) arrangement with 4 QC-280 gas turbines developing 28 megawatts each and 6 smaller QD-50 gas turbines, developing 5 megawatts each. Such systems have a small footprint and allow us to reach high speeds. The maximum speed is estimated to be 30 knots, 56 kilometers per hour. However, COGAG systems are not that fuel efficient as CODAG or CODOG systems with diesel engines. Type 055 has a range of 5,000 nautical miles, 9,300 kilometers. It was estimated that each Type 055 class cruiser costs at least $900 million. It has emerged that China's most advanced destroyer, the 10,000-ton class Type 055, is larger than previously reported, as the Chinese Navy recently revealed it has an actual displacement of more than 12,000 tons. Experts said on Friday that the difference between 10,000 and 12,000 tons could be huge and indicate the warship is even more powerful than expected. China's Type 055 warship, larger, more powerful than expected. 925,001 Type 055 guided missile destroyers. Nanchang. Picture source: Twitter. In an introduction video for Nanchang, the first ship of its type, released by the People's Liberation Army (PLA) Navy during the Spring Festival holidays, the service confirmed the ship has a displacement of more than 12,000 tons. The warship was previously only vaguely referred to as China's first 10,000-ton class destroyer, without information of its exact displacement. This has debunked some analysts' estimations that the Type 55's displacement is only a little more than 10,000 tons, and indicates the ship type could be even more powerful than expected, a military expert who asked not to be named told the Global Times on Friday. The 12,000-ton figure could refer to a standard or normal displacement, so full displacement could potentially reach 13,000 tons, the expert estimated, noting that the Type 052D, a previous classification of Chinese destroyer, has an approximate displacement of just 6,000 to 7,000 tons. Displacement is an important indicator of a warship's combat capability in multiple aspects, including firepower and its ability to sail in high seas, as a larger displacement results in higher stability, more fuel and ammunition, analysts said. The PLA Navy video also revealed that Nanchang marks China's achievement of a globally advanced level in terms of surface vessel propulsion technology, and that the warship's speed is of the top class. It did not reveal details of the ship's propulsion system or the ship's top speed. Analysts predict Type 055 has variants that will use full electric propulsion in the future, which could enable more optimized power distribution and realize the usage of high-energy weapons like lasers. Development. In April 2014, images showed a full-scale mock-up of the superstructure of a warship being erected at the Chinese Naval Electronic Testing Range in Wuhan. The mock-up featured an enclosed integrated mast for radar and other electronics. Observers have concluded the shore-based facility was for a new class of Chinese warships, displacing approximately 10,000 tons, referred to as the Type 055. In 2015, the U.S. believed that construction could begin as early as 2016, and has tentatively classified it as a cruiser due to its size. Chinese sources claimed the first Type 055 was ordered from the Jiangnan shipyard in August 2014, with construction starting in December 2014. The second would be ordered from the Dalian Shipbuilding Industry Company. In 2015, military analyst Li claimed the Type 055 would have two 64-cell VLS grids, one fore and one aft, carrying YJ-100 long-range anti-ship cruise missiles, anti-submarine missiles, and anti-aircraft missiles. The United States believes the ship would carry YJ-18 anti-ship cruise missiles. In 2013, Richard Fisher speculated that, if Chinese development was extrapolated, the Type 055 might be the first Chinese warship to mount laser weapons. Potentially owing to Chinese deficiencies in anti-submarine warfare (ASW), the ship is expected to carry various undersea warfare systems such as towed array sonar, variable depth sonar, towed torpedo decoys, and active torpedo defenses. In an interview in 2015, Rear Admiral Yin Zhou countered Western media claims that Type 055 represented a game changer in naval warfare. He regarded the Type 055 as equivalent to the U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, and the emphasis of its estimated 10,000-ton displacement was exaggerated. The existing Japanese Otago-class destroyer is over 9,000 tons, the American Zumwalt-class destroyer is over 12,000 tons, and the Russian Udaloy-class destroyer is over 8,000 tons. Further stated that if the Type 055 were to mount laser weapons or electromagnetic railguns, the ship would require integrated electric propulsion to meet their power requirements. China reportedly launched its 8th Type 055 and 25th Type 052D destroyers on Sunday, only 2 days after the decommissioning of 2 Type 051 destroyers attached to the Chinese People's Liberation Army (PLA) Navy, which marked the retirement of China's all first generation of indigenous destroyers. At a time when China has been launching new generation destroyers at a rapid pace, experts said Sunday that the PLA Navy's development has entered a new stage, with third-generation warships becoming the main battle equipment and fourth-generation ones beginning to enter service. Hong Kong-based media group Talking Wenwei reported on Sunday that the PLA Navy's 8th Type 055 and 25th Type 052D destroyers were simultaneously launched in the Dalian shipyard at northeast China's Liaoning province on Sunday morning. These new Chinese warships are comparable to the world's top destroyers, including the US Arleigh Burke-class and Zumwalt-class, analysts said. The launch of the 2 new ships comes after a decommissioning ceremony for the 2 old warships, the Zhanjiang and the Zhuhai, which was held at a naval base in Zhanjiang, South China's Guangdong province on Friday. The occasion marks that all China's first generation of indigenous destroyers has been discharged from active service, China Central Television reported on Saturday. Between the 1970s and 1990s, China built 17 Type 51s, which were the PLA Navy's first modern destroyers with combat command capabilities. The vessels served as the Navy's main surface combat ships, Shanghai-based news website EastDay.com reported on Saturday. Having served in the PLA Navy for the past 5 decades, the Type 051 proved itself to be a powerful guardian of the country and a start to the country's domestically developed destroyers, analysts said. With older ships decommissioned, China has been launching and commissioning new destroyers in recent years. The Diplomat magazine reported in July that China currently fields about 20 modern, Aegis-type destroyers, and in 4 to 5 years the number would increase to 39 to 40, including 6 Type 052Cs, 25 to 26 Type 052Ds, and 8 Type 55s. Looking back at the PLA Navy's development history, Zhang Jun, a senior research fellow at the PLA Naval Military Studies Research Institute, told the Global Times on Sunday that China's first-generation destroyers were imported from the Soviet Union in the 1950s. The second-generation ones are of Type 051, which is the first generation domestically developed and which entered service in the 1970s. With the older generation warships decommissioned, China's main battle destroyers now consist of mainly third-generation vessels, including the Type 052Cs and the Type 052Ds, alongside the fourth-generation Type 055. The Chinese ships' displacement, technology, and combat capability are on the rise as they have gained comprehensive combat capability in air defense, anti-ship, and anti-submarine operations, Zhang said. China's building of more and better warships is making up for the progress lost in the initial stage of reform and opening up when the country focused on economic development instead of national defense, Zhang said, noting that China now needs to boost national defense and military capability to safeguard its economic development. Last Wednesday, the People's Liberation Army Navy launched the first of its new air warfare ships, designated the Type 055 destroyer. At approximately 10,000 tons displacement and 180 meters in length, this is not a small ship, and for good reason. It is intended to provide the air defense for an aircraft carrier task force. To do that, the Type 055 needs to carry not only a full suite of sensors, notably phased array radars in multiple bands for the long-range detection, tracking, and engagement of hostile aircraft and anti-ship missiles, but sufficient weaponry to meet multiple massed attacks. In the case of Type 055, this means well over 100 cells for vertically launched missiles. The Rand's Hobart-class destroyers have 48, although some are quad packs for the evolved Sea Sparrow missile. It also needs to have the command and control capabilities to coordinate the air defense effort of other ships and the aircraft hosted by the carrier. This requires excellent communications and battle management systems, and quite a few people. While Type 055 is being compared with the American Burke-class guided missile destroyer, its key role as an air defense command ship for a task force makes it more comparable with the US Ticonderoga-class cruiser. And this is what the Type 055 is, a cruiser, the keynote of a future PLA Navy carrier battle group. Type 055 is one component of the Chinese drive to create aircraft carrier task forces that are capable of regional and even global operations. The various building blocks are being put in place for a program that will take a decade or more to bring to fruition. Type 052 guided missile destroyers are already in series production. The first Chinese-built aircraft carrier, albeit a derivative of the Liaoning, an ex-Soviet vessel, was launched in April. Larger and more capable carriers will follow, and they will probably have some type of catapult, allowing the use of heavier aircraft with bigger combat loads than Liaoning can deploy. Almost as important, China is building additional replenishment ships to sustain the combatant units at sea with the ship and aviation fuel, ammunition, and food. 8 of the 23,000-ton 903 and 903A tankers are now in commission, and larger and even more capable, one-stop, replenishment units will follow. These task forces are more a strategic challenge to the US than a military one. They are complementary to China's Anti-Access Area Denial (A2AD) program rather than integral to it. The PLA Navy does not intend that its carriers steam to do battle with the US Navy in the Central Pacific in a high-technology restaging of the Battle of Midway. The PLA Navy's carrier groups will instead provide China with a capability to exert influence and apply force not only in East Asia but in the Indian Ocean and even further afield. As such, they will signal to the rest of the world that China is a great power and that it has capabilities equivalent to the US, capabilities that it is willing to use. Herein lies the strategic challenge for the Americans. It is an alternative narrative for the maritime domain that has not been heard since the temporary rise of the Soviet Navy in the 1970s, one that may be heard in future decades in many parts of the world. A China which has long been irritated by the appearance of American carrier groups on the East Asia periphery might well enjoy dispatching a task force to cruise the Caribbean and the coasts of Central America. It will certainly deploy its carrier groups to Southeast Asia, the Indian Ocean, and Africa. Are there gaps in the Chinese effort? Anti-submarine warfare remains an area of profound weakness, although there can be no doubt that the PLA Navy is working hard to improve. The carrier capability has a very long way to go. Liaoning does not yet host a balanced air group with the necessary aerial early warning, electronic warfare, or anti-submarine aircraft. Bringing the whole task force effort together in a way that creates a protective, gap-free, umbrella of awareness and weaponry for air, surface and subsurface defense will not be easy. The PLA Navy will certainly use every possible means, legitimate and covert, to understand how the US Navy does this, but it must in the end develop the necessary doctrine and practical expertise itself. Could the program be halted? Despite the growing influence and prestige of the PLA Navy within China, the development of aircraft carrier task forces remains dependent on the Chinese economy continuing to prosper. If significant reductions, or even a markedly reduced rate of growth, are ever imposed on defense spending, the land defense of China and the maritime A2AD effort will be the priority. Submarines and missiles remain more important for China's defense than aircraft carriers. The Chinese state-owned media recently revealed that the Navy's Type 055 guided missile destroyer has anti-stealth and anti-satellite capabilities in low Earth orbit. Anti-stealth capability is essential to countering potential threats from U.S. stealth warplanes such as F-35 and F-22 jets, and B-2 bombers, Chinese analysts said. These capabilities are possessed by the warship due to a dual-band radar system. In July, China sailed a newer version of its Type 052D guided missile destroyer equipped with new meter-wave radar to detect stealth warplanes besides a longer helicopter deck to accommodate the ship-borne version of its Z-20 attack utility helicopter. Some of the advanced radar systems produced by modern technologies can detect low Earth orbit aircraft, which often circulate the Earth at an altitude of 300 to 500 kilometers. Wang Yanan, a military expert, was quoted as saying by Global Times on Sunday, "High-performance radar systems can detect and track satellites. This means the radar can then guide weapons to attack the satellites," Wang explained. Chinese Navy Type 055 destroyer has anti-stealth, anti-satellite capabilities. PLA Navy's Type 052DL destroyer with new radar mast. The Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy plans to have a fleet of 8 Type 055 destroyers, its most powerful naval vessel to date. Displacing more than 10,000 tons, Type 055 is a 180-meter-long, 20-meter-wide destroyer with 112 vertical launch missile cells capable of launching missiles such as surface-to-air, anti-ship, land attack, and anti-submarine missiles. There are plans of the destroyer being deployed for anti-ballistic missile operations, according to older Chinese media reports. Given the large size of Type 055, it would be naturally able to carry a type of air defense missile capable of reaching targets in low Earth orbit, Wang predicted, noting that the radar system used on Type 055 can also transmit data via data chain to land-based air defense forces which can launch anti-satellite missiles. The PLA Navy is said to have launched its 8th Type 055 and 25th Type 052D destroyers at Dalian Shipyard, Liaoning Province in late August. The U.S. Navy's Aegis ships have anti-satellite capabilities. An SM-3 missile fired by USS Lake Erie guided missile cruiser reportedly hit a crippled spy satellite in 2008. In wartime, if one side can suppress hostile satellites, it can neutralize a key part of a hostile intelligence source and gain an advantage for itself, Wang said.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments. See you in the next video.